Good morning, and firstly I'd like to thank Trudy for inviting me to speak with you today, and I'm only sorry that I can't be with you in person. Unfortunately, government business has got in the way a bit this week, but I want to say how important an effective planning system is, and I want to particularly thank the RTPI for the work that your team does with us in government to make sure that the things we're doing and how we're looking to deliver is done as smoothly and effectively and efficiently as possible. And that's important because the planning system is important to our country, and it's important in line of the pledges that we made in the manifesto and what we as a government are committed to doing. I was delighted to be asked to continue as the Housing and Planning Minister to deliver on those pledges and that manifesto that we outlined just a couple of months ago. And it also means I get that opportunity to work with you all and your team again over the months and hopefully the years ahead to deliver on what we all know that we need, a strong delivering planning system that delivers the houses we need for our country. Now, we did achieve a lot over the period of the last Parliament. In 2010, the incoming government found itself with the lowest level of house building since about 1923. Big reforms were made, particularly obviously that work to deliver the NPPF, to move to a local plan-led and neighbourhood plan-led system. Those reforms, that work is now delivering. We've seen some 261,000 homes get planning approval over the last year. That is the evidence that that work is now paying dividends for us all. It also is important to note that hundreds of thousands of homes were built over the last Parliament. House building is increasing. First-time buyers are now back to almost record levels. That's good news, but we still have much more work to do. We cannot afford to sit and rest on our laurels. We need to build more homes. We all need to make sure those homes are well built, well designed, well laid out, well planned for. And that's why, following the general election, we set out in the Queen's speech our ambition and the clear message that there'll be a housing bill during this session of Parliament. That bill will set out opportunities for widening home ownership and boosting housing supply. For planning, it means a few things. A requirement for local authorities to have a register of brownfield land suitable for housing, so opportunities to build become clearer and easier for developers and builders to pursue. There'll be measures to support our ambition for 200,000 starter homes by the end of this Parliament, and there'll be measures to support people who want to build or to commission their own home through the right to build. And we will take steps to simplify and speed up neighbourhood planning so that more communities, more people can take advantage of the opportunity to be able to plan for themselves and for their local area, and for that plan to have weight in law. Now, while not everybody wants to build their own home, and many people want a bigger say about where the homes they want to live in are built in their local areas, we have to remember that today local people, councils and communities have far more ability to determine the future of their areas, to shape their communities than ever before. Local plans supported by neighbourhood plans are the best way to ensure that development is appropriate for appropriate locations. That's why we also expect people and councils to take forward local plans and to make those difficult decisions, to show leadership in their communities about how they deliver for the housing needs of their areas. Local plans adopted since the National Planning Policy Framework came into place are now at about 64%, with over 80% being published. That's good news, but we also need to go further. It does, however, show that a plan-led system is now leading the way. It's becoming a reality. We need to make sure that local plans deliver for communities, and we need to make sure that we continue to see more published and adopted over the next few months and the next few years. Remaining gaps need to be filled, and older plans need to be updated, and we need to work with communities to make sure that's done appropriately and speedily. And we'll be announcing some further reforms to ensure that the planning system is doing all that it can to support improved access to housing and continued economic recovery in our communities. A good planning system does need good planners. And I'd like to end my few words to you this morning by outlining my support for the RTPI's Future Planners Bursary Scheme, which was launched just last month. Planning plays a vital role in shaping our futures, in shaping our communities. So it's right that we should seek to bring some of the very best talents possible into the planning profession. And I'm sure this scheme will play an important part in that. And I congratulate the team of the RTPI for having the initiative and the drive to bring this together to deliver. Positive, proactive planning will attract the brightest and the best. And I'm sure that you'll hear some examples of that during the course of today as well. I know the RTPI is also looking for nominations for great places that planning has helped to shape. And that will go a long way to reminding people how important planning is. And I've been asked if I'll give my vote for where I would think planning should be. And that's always a tempting thing to do, to put my mast out there and be clear about where I think is the best place to plan. But actually, what I'm interested in is what everybody else thinks. To try and get a feel out of this competition for what our communities, what our people out there like and want to see more of. That's an important thing for developers to look at, to make sure that we're building the communities and the places that people want to live and can be proud of. So whether your personal taste is Poundbury, which is a phenomenal example of how you bring residential, commercial and retail together, or the Olympic Park, which has shown how with good planning you can create a hugely vibrant community with phenomenal assets and a huge increase in the number of places for people to live in and around London. Or any other panoply of examples you can see from rural communities such as we have in Norfolk right the way through to our big cities. I think the competition is a great chance to look at what works, what people like and what we can do more of to deliver the homes that we need for our country. I look forward to working with you all over the period ahead and I hope you have an excellent conference.